Hello, welcome back to No Time Yoga with Lisa. Today we'll be working out chronic neck pain issues and causes. This isn't the kind of neck pain where you wake up in the morning and your neck is a little stiff and you know you just need a new pillow. No, this is the kind of neck pain that seems to flare up frequently, and we've done so much. We've seen massage therapists, the chiropractor. We just can't seem to figure out what's going on. I dealt with chronic neck pain for a long time. The flare-ups would be awful. So I could go on for a whole year in a video, but instead we'll take about 16 minutes together to figure out some ways in which I've found that structurally I've been able to relieve chronic neck pain. You see, we're up against 24 hours of asymmetrical and imbalanced movement. The way we sleep, the way we drive, the way we work. Our body by pattern favors one side over another, making this issue worse. I'll link a more in-depth video I made down below. So let's go ahead and get started and find 3 centering breaths. Sitting up nice and tall, close the eyes. Breathe in through the nose. Feel the lungs expand. And as you exhale, begin to settle in. Let's take another big breath in. Feel yourself sit up nice and tall. And as you exhale, let the shoulders rest away from the ears. And one more big breath in. And as you exhale, let it all go. Give yourself a smile. We're ready for our practice. The equipment you will be using today includes this band here. I use it a lot for my corrective exercises. I'll link in the description where you can find that below, but a strap works too. We'll also use a ball. I'm using a lacrosse ball. You can use a tennis ball. And 2 blocks. I also have this blanket here, which will come in handy in just a moment. Let's go ahead and stand up tall. It's very likely that if you're suffering from chronic neck pain, you have some imbalances left to right in your spine. And you can find that out by locating 4 points on the front of your body. The first 2 are your low ribs. Go ahead and use your hands to feel those out. Just the lowest ribs in front of your abdomen. And then the next 2 points are your hip bones. Feel those out too. All right. Let's bring our hands up to those low ribs. Feel around and even look down, and you'll be able to notice that one, even if it's subtle, sticks out forward more than the other. That means that our rib cage is tilted backward and slightly to one side. Mine is on the left. So use your hand and your abs to squeeze that left rib cage down and then stand up nice and tall, and you'll probably immediately feel some relief in the side of the neck that's often flared up. Awesome, isn't it? Let's keep working on this. Let's bring your hands to your hip points. Feel around. It might take a few minutes, but one here is also likely lower than the other. My left hip point is higher than my right. So when I lift my right hip, my right heel comes off the floor, which means that this imbalance has traveled down to my legs, and one leg is shorter than the other. Believe it or not, most of us deal with this. So just for this practice, stand on your blanket, and this should help your hip points become level. So let's go ahead and stand. Squeeze the left rib bones into the body. Feel the hips, how they're a little more even. And before we do any neck stretches, it's important to find the balance in the skeletal system. And now we've done it. So let's stretch. Left arm reaches over to the left with the palm up. With your right hand, guide your head gently over to the right, bringing your right ear to the right shoulder. Take a couple of breaths. Make sure that you're still engaging on the side of your rib cage that seems to protrude forward, and switch sides. Now this is something that I do frequently. I work on engaging that rib cage down, and it has really helped to alleviate some of the chronic neck pain. You can do this while you're standing at a desk, brushing your teeth, doing the dishes, anything. just bringing more balance back into the body when there is so much imbalance. Great job. Let's set the blanket aside. The next thing we're going to address is releasing some of the fascia. We're going to do that with our lacrosse ball on the points on our neck and also just underneath and behind our left armpit here to start. Grab both of your blocks. Find a tender point on the left side of your neck and lay the ball on top of the block, just in that point, and support your head with the other block. This can be incredibly sensational and a little uncomfortable. So we're going to take very deep breaths here. Sometimes I have to breathe through my mouth even to get through the initial few moments of discomfort. And I promise you, just around 5 breaths or so, things start to really release. And right about now, it should become a little more bearable. A few more breaths, and it's good to stay in these positions for about a minute or so. And my recommendation is that you make this part of your weekly regimen, maybe 3 times a week. Great job. Let's go ahead and lift up. Now you can move the ball around up the scalenes here. It's a tight muscle, becomes very stubborn. It runs from your collarbone up to your ears and then also just behind that side of your neck as well, where the traps lie. Spend more time there as the days go by. The next point is right behind the armpit. So these are some pretty delicate muscles, your rotator muscles and the insertion point of your tricep and your lats. When these become tight, it causes your shoulder bones to become really compressed. That cause a lot of trouble. So just behind the armpit, find a tender point and place your ball there and rest your head on your block. Now if you're wondering, am I on the right spot? Then you're definitely not on the right spot. Move around until it feels about as tender as the neck did. And then do this sort of gentle waving motion. It helps to massage out those tight muscles, very similar to like a deep tissue massage. And again, a good minute spent on these lacrosse balls is really important to release the fascia that stays so bound in these tight places. Good, and again you might start to notice it release. It doesn't feel as intense. That's a good sign. Let's go ahead and rise up. And of course, we want to keep things symmetrical, so let's take it to the right side. Even if this isn't your bothersome side, it's important to keep both sides healthy. Let's find that tender spot on the right side of our neck. Make sure you're breathing almost immediately. It can be really intense. Support the head. Good. Rely on the breath to be the comfort in the discomfort in some of these corrective exercises. Great, and this is a great technique for increasing oxygen and blood flow, nutrients getting into areas that have really maybe been very bound for a long time. Just a few more breaths. Great job. You're probably feeling a lot of relief already. Let's move on to that same behind the shoulder area. just behind the armpit, where the rotator cuff muscles, lats, triceps, all of those muscles for the shoulders come into play. Search for the tender spot, roll backward and forward, kind of wiggle around till you find it. And then that very gentle waving motion back and forth. This helps to roll the muscle fibers over the ball and release them a little more, increasing blood flow, which also helps the healing process. Let's enjoy one more breath here. And let's come up. The next muscles we'll address are the chest muscles, the muscles that connect our shoulder bones to our chest and our rib cage. Those can get really tight too. You can use your fingers and you can usually feel a pretty tender spot there. That's where the ball is going to go, so let's lay down onto our belly. Place the ball onto the block on its second height, and then place the ball into the tender spot that we just found and support your head here with the other block. Now, just like you might be swimming in water, make this motion with your arm where you reach forward like you're shaking someone's hand and then swim it out and open. Good. Reach forward and repeat this motion a couple of times, massaging out what is probably a very tender pec minor muscle. Now keep in mind, this isn't just to correct some injuries or relieve us of pain, but also to increase range of motion. So if you're a weightlifter or an athlete or really are just looking for range of motion in your upper body, these are great exercises to add to your weekly regimen. Moving to the other side now. Find all of your supports. Place the ball in its tender spot. Sometimes it requires some wiggling around. And then that same swimming motion with the arm. Reach forward and then sweep it out to the side. Reaching forward and sweeping out to the side. This one for me creates measurable difference in the comfort in my shoulders. Make sure you're still breathing. And let's just do one more big sweep with the arms here. Great job. Let's come on up. We're done with the ball for now, so you can set it aside. We'll be using just one of our blocks. So go ahead and set one aside. And grab your band as well. Once we've released the fascia, we're going to now stretch the lats, the triceps, the rotator cuff muscles, and shoulder stabilizers. It's best to do after we've addressed some of the imbalances and also released that tight fascia. Grab your band and loop it around both arms. Take it just above the elbows, just above, not below the elbows, and not too high. Place one block on its second height just behind you. Using a little bit of finesse, roll all the way down until the block is between your shoulder blades. That's your upper back. Make sure you're fully supported. The palms are together. And then loop the band just behind the head as your forearms and hands support your head. The band will also support your head. And this is going to feel absolutely delicious after all of the things we've done to help release those shoulders, neck, and back muscles. And then the fourth and final thing, and this is usually where I lose people, it's also the matter of inflammation, reducing the amount of inflammatory foods that we consume. And this is something you can do all day long. For me, it was getting rid of sugar and processed grain foods. And the big one for me was dairy. It's something to investigate. And if you're not ready to let go of some of your favorite foods, Today's exercises can be really, really pivotal in helping you to relieve and cure some of the shoulder problems that you've had, the shoulder and neck flare-ups. Let's enjoy 2 more full breaths in this final posture. Very carefully take the arms forward, using the core, sit all the way up, and let's take the band off. You're probably already enjoying some freedom. Roll through the neck and loop through the shoulders. Draw your hands to heart center in honor of the ability for us to heal ourselves. The healer in me honors the healer in you. Namaste.